Hi, I'm Alana and I study English here at Oxford.
Hi, I'm Joseph. I'm a second year student of English Language and Literature at Oxford University.
I think English is a brilliant subject to study at university. It's so much more than just reading fiction, it's teaching you a way to be in and respond to the world around you, and that's so important. I definitely work more than 5 days a week, and I have done since I was about 16 when I was managing a part-time job along with schoolwork. I don't think this is particularly healthy, but we do have such a culture of productivity that's really closely linked to capitalism.
In terms of what I want to do in the future, I'm not really quite sure yet, even at this stage. I think one interesting option would be to look into doing kind of further research in my kind of subject area in academia, because while we have a lot of researchers in the sciences and in technology, various studies, it's easy to forget there are a lot of researchers in the humanities as well who do a lot of interesting things looking at different periods of history or of literature.
I want to stay in academia because I really believe in education and I would love to publish my own research one day.
I'm definitely strongest when it comes to kind of writing. So one thing I thought about also is like getting involved in journalism. I'd really like to write those kind of big kind of Guardian long reads pieces that kind of go down some very interesting kind of investigative routes. And recently I've even started thinking about law, which kind of came a bit out of nowhere. Wasn't really expecting that. But I think it's quite an interesting subject to kind of look around in certain areas, kind of looking at, election law and kind of what the public implications of that are as well. Some problems with those fields kind of do relate to kind of the question of productivity and the working week. So kind of law and journalism especially kind of notoriously unkind to kind of new graduates coming out who might be required to kind of work very long internships or kind of gig economy kind of jobs where you're kind of thrown in kind of to just work the kind of the worst jobs and that sort of thing, which makes me quite apprehensive.
I think our culture tends to value productivity over happiness. I think self-worth is too often linked to how hard you work, and I definitely think we need to shift our priorities towards relationships and friendships. Productivity culture contributes to less and less people studying the arts and humanities because these subjects are seen as less likely to lead to a well-paid job. I think this is a shame. I think it's a shame not to value creativity.
Perhaps, but we should start thinking about how we're working. And one way we could start thinking about that is considering cutting down on the amount of the number of hours we work. And I think honestly, like when you're doing kind of more productive work and not sitting through, hours and hours of meetings that could be very easily resolved, you're usually kind of happier because you feel like you're producing something more worthwhile. So yeah, I'd like to work in a job where I feel that my kind of working hours are spent productively and valuably, both in kind of real terms and kind of personal fulfillment, which obviously also enables you to have a much better work-life balance as well.
I used to do a lot of work in coffee shops, long hours and 5 days a week over the summer. It was really difficult. I think the technology exists to automate many service industry jobs, and this would free people to pursue creative endeavours like music and art.